Welcome again to this Thursday, 7:30 in Atlanta, 1:30 in Spain. My name is Samuel. Uh, I know you, you know me, most of you, after a few sessions here. Uh, the topic today within CBCT, Cognitively Based Compassion Training, is equanimity or impartiality. I should remind you all that this is a space created thanks to the generosity of the Center for Compassion at Emory University, and that feedback about me, this space, can be given at cbct at emory.edu, or you can go to the website at compassion.emory.edu. I'm recording, but no one in the public is going to be on the video. I'm using speaker view. And again, the topic today is impartiality or equanimity. And within CBCT, Cognitively Based Compassion Training, this is more or less in the middle of the protocol. After self-compassion, after having gained a little bit of attentional stability and clarity and insight into the nature of the mental experience. So there are two actually meanings, at least two ways of understanding equanimity. And one is about the method, not too much, but enough. I generally say this quote in Spanish, ni mucho ni poco, lo justito con gustito y con cariñito, not much, not little, just enough with ease and with love. So that is the method that applies to all the modules. From module 1, where we don't want to go at it with too much intensity. It's not about making a lot of effort to pay attention, but we want to pay enough attention, so it's not abandoning ourselves either. And very particularly with module 2, insight into the mental experience, where we hold comfortable and uncomfortable sensations, feelings, thoughts, and that is not to say that suddenly uncomfortable feelings become great. No, but you hold the unease and the discomfort with the thought. And it turns out that, yes, that actually already decreases a lot your discomfort with the discomfort of being uncomfortable. So there's a lot that we can reduce by doing that, but that doesn't mean that we are going to get rid of all discomfort in life, because this reality brings the feeling and feelings that we like and we don't. So holding that, being able to witness, to accompany, even to accept those feelings is what equanimity is in module 2. Then comes module 3, in which we are facing ourselves. It is the relationship with ourselves. And again, what we don't like about ourselves, if we can hold it, we actually will be able to make it better. If we don't become attached or obsessed with the things that we like about ourselves, that will not be dangerous. And we will not forget that we are in constant learning, and the curve of learning never ends. So both things are equally dangerous, going towards what we like, which we do, and we can hold it and accept that we like it, but not being stuck in that, and holding what we don't like about ourselves. And again, not being stuck and not playing the guilt game, which is not productive. And in that sense, it's already very helpful to speak about shared humanity, to know that all of us are going through the same, and we start there already in module 3, with module 4, impartiality or equanimity. And part of it is the um, causes and conditions for suffering are beyond ourselves. There's so much. There are endless factors. How could I take the only responsibility for what happens to me or what I do, even my first thought? It's not entirely my responsibility. It comes from all the learning, all the cultural habits, all the genes. So with a lot of patience, you get rid of that sense of guilt that it's only an obstacle to really take ownership on what is next that you can do. And when you start to understand this a little bit about yourself, it is much easier to understand it about others. And this is what takes us to the content of Module 4, beyond the strategy, not doing too much, but enough, not too little either. It's the content relating to others in this balanced way in which you can hold um, first with yourself the fact that you don't like everyone, and you hold it, but you don't hold it perhaps against the person that you don't like. You simply don't like it. Then you start to ask yourself the reasons for not liking that person. And it's mostly, self-centered reasons. It's either they did something that was not good for me. And so it's legitimate not to want to get close to that person. But you also realize there's so much more, like in your case, that explains or may explain that behavior in that person. And you don't know, we don't know absolutely everything. We never will. We play with the information that we have. And for that, yeah, we make biased decisions, which is very much like discomfort inevitable. But if we are at least aware that we are biased, we don't we will be able not to allow the bias to interfere with the possibility of creating a greater, brighter future for ourselves than others. This is more or less impartiality and equanimity. It's so tempting to categorize people by, again, whether or not their actions were beneficial to us, when their actions are a wider, way wider range and list that we don't know. It's also tempting to categorize them because of little information that we have, their race, their religion, their country of origin, their age, their income. So easy and to generalize. And it's not about being hard on ourselves for doing what we can, but trying to become aware, to take ownership on what it is that we can do next. Interestingly, and I will conclude my explanation with this story, because the important thing is really to practice and to change our habits and make room and space for awareness, for light in what we already do. Again, it's not our fault. We have done what we could, the best that we knew. It's only through awareness that even though we did the best we could, we can do better, only through awareness. And this is the true as well for others. They do what they can, and often it's really obnoxious and irritable, and especially when we know how much better they could do. But it's not their fault. There's nobody at fault ultimately. But yes, it's the opportunity that we all share to do better. I wanted to tell you this story about Kira. Kira is my sister's dog, and I have developed a beautiful relationship with this phenomenal, beautiful dog. She's a fox terrier, and she's hearing me talking about her right now. And She's smart. She's if Buddhists are right, I think next reincarnation of Kira is going to be a beautiful human being because there's nothing left for her to do as a dog. And we had a moment this morning. Uh, we have developed trust and friendship over the months that I've stayed in Spain, and she generally listens to me very well. But this morning, there was a dog on the road that was running free. Um, the dog is a friend of hers and probably escaped, and she ran to her friend, to him, when the car was coming. And I was first very afraid and then very angry because she left my side despite the fact that I was calling her, and she knows better and she could do so much better. She could, but she didn't. She couldn't really. Ultimately, her animal instincts played a big role, and she ran away. She wanted to greet her friend, and she was not aware of all the things that I was aware. But and then I want to bring this story because there was a lot about me there, my fear and my anger. That it serves a purpose, but when is it too much? I yelled at her like you would not believe it, and she felt it. She was so submissive for the longest time, not even looking at my eyes. Um, and that is my shortcoming, and I have to decide whether or not maybe I did well. This is exactly the way it all should have happened. I yelled at her because it's appropriate punishment. If punishment is ever appropriate, let's not go there. um, I think it is when things are risk of our own life or our own integrity. Punishment may be a good strategy. But that is my thing, self-compassion. And then there is her role in how I felt. Her thing, she honestly, again, came from being a dog, despite the fact that she's so smart and kind. She has her limitations and she's forgetful. And so ideally, I did the best I could. She did the best I could. And yes, she put herself in danger. And yes, we can do better. But what we did was not bad or was not right or wrong. We did it, and now we have the golden opportunity to, for the future, or in this situation, if it happens again, what can we do different? And maybe there's nothing I can do different, and or maybe there is, and the same for her to the extent that she is aware and understands. So when we talk about impartiality and equanimity, you see how uh, we are much more interconnected than we realize. And Kira's, the dog's actions are affecting me, and my actions are affecting her. But there's the limits of my opportunity, which is not even within myself, because again, I bring all this baggage and all this history. But there's a light, there's a point of space, of flexibility, where I can really modify my behavior for the betterment of myself and others. And at this point, it would be for the betterment of all to identify a little bit with Kira, not to decide that she's this or that or she did wrong, but to put that in place, hold it, hold the idea that I did not like what would happen, that it could have put her at risk, without becoming obsessed with that, and liberating, holding that the path of no resistance is the only path to do better. If I insist on the things that should have not happened, I will not leave room for improving for all of us. And that psychologists call is identification. You understand a little bit better Kira or others. You understand that the information that you have is just partial and it's related to yourself. But in psychologists, there's this conversation about the importance of um, uh, mm, what is the other side of identification? Differentiation. Um, because, but in reality, equanimity and impartiality brings both identification and differentiation. You acknowledge the different circumstances of the other sentient being, of other people. You acknowledge their endless past and endless causes and conditions. And that is what we have in common. So this is the point that brings us together, that we are different. We are all special. I am unique, like all of you. We are all extraordinary, and we can all do better. So that means that while we are the same, we are very different. And this is again the equanimity, the strategy of not balancing things one way or the other, but holding everything as it is, as much as we are possible to do it. And that actually brings the space, the evenness, uh, sometimes some people call it nothingness, that is um, extremely joyful and beautiful, because nobody's at fault and we can all do better. So in reality, we get rid of a lot of the discomfort, but not really, because part of the discomfort is part of this human reality. And I hope I made sense, but this is a topic that with many layers. Again, it's a strategy all through CBCT. We want to do this with ease, with fun, with joy, with gusto, for goodness sake. Don't do it. Don't spend too much if it's too effortful. But at the same time, do something. Let's not abandon ourselves. And then there's the content of equanimity, impartiality for others. They are in this adventure of life exactly like all of us. Very different circumstances, but also endless, unknown, and with the full possibility, full opportunity to do better. If I've gone this far, everyone can do it, and everyone, even the Dalai Lama, has things to learn, just like myself. All right, let's do it. I'll stop the recording when I'm done with the meditation, and that way I'll keep your identity secret. Again, I'm recording, but not your image or your voice. Let's try to find a comfortable posture where we are. We are going to acknowledge the physical space that we occupy, and whether we like it or not. This is it. And the more we accept it and acknowledge it, the better we'll be able to use it. And there are things that we cannot do, and there are things that we can do in this physical space. The floor, the ground, solid and firm under my body, is something that, thank goodness, I cannot change. But I have a little bit of power and action of my posture. And that posture, I want it to be as pleasurable as possible. Not to fall asleep, but to stay awake but relaxed. And generally, it's a good idea, but it may not be for you, or it may not be for you today, to keep a straight back, but not rigid, open chest, level shoulders, head slightly leaning forward, and eyes cast down or closed. We are all the same in needing a comfortable posture to relax our body, which will help to relax our mind. We are different in how we find this comfortable posture, although those suggestions generally work for most of us. And something else we cannot change, thank goodness again, is the endless supply of air that we are breathing all the time, but very intentionally and deliberately. We're going to breathe in and out with gusto, with joy, through the nostrils, slowly but deeply, 3 times. And we recognize the pleasure of breathing in, taking that oxygen in, not too much because soon we'll have to let it out. But we can breathe out as well with gusto, enjoying both things. And the last time we exhale, we may also release tensions, excitement, things that may make our work a little bit more difficult. Our work of really relaxing and having fun. And what is it that we want to do comes next. And that is something that we cannot change either, this instinct to survive, but it may take many forms and shapes. And this is what we call intention. We are here today to practice together. And what is it that I want, I wish? What is it that I want out of this practice, out of this day, out of my life? And if it is helpful, we can give it the shape of a nurturing memory or an imagined scene or the form of this moment right here, right now, where our body, our mind, our heart recognized exactly what we are looking for, one element. And this is hopefully not effortful recalling. Let's allow memories, images to come to our mind and then exercise our will to rest there and review all the details and allow those elements and emotions saturate our whole body and spirit. And I often recognize this nurturing moment as a moment when I am. And I can only be, I'm only in context, in relationship, in relation to others or something else, scenery or someone else. And this is what I wish for myself and for others around me. If I can bring it to others, share it with others, this experience of being. And from that desire, we go to reality, which is there to help us achieve this dream with the beauty and the nastiness, the comfort and the discomfort. But let's go slowly into reality, starting with barely one element of our sensory world, one aspect, one sensation that perhaps accompanies the breathing. And let's just do that, accompany that sensation, not making it an effortful exercise again, allowing that sensation to knock on our door, but us doing the minimum effort of responding and holding on to that sensation without grabbing it. And the same way we're going to practice with the distractions that take us away, thank goodness, because they are our limits and they help us come back to our dance. Let's do this with gusto, like a game. And perhaps we are able to stabilize our mind a little bit and sense the sensation changing moment after moment. And we realize the sensation is a gentle guide to the present moment where other things happen, the distractions, for example. And we can start to rest our attention in this present moment, in this flow of things and on whatever it brings. Again, trying with ease, with joy, not to block anything, not to resist anything, not to invite anything either, but simply again accompany, dance with the flow of whatever happens. welcoming all the guests in this house, nasty, ugly, beautiful, joyful. And perhaps we feel or have the intuition that the present moment itself is joyful regardless of the contents. There is this intuition of this vast space that contains everything else. So we are not destined to be stuck in uncomfortable feelings or sensations because they come and they go. And we bring that next at our own pace, if that is our disposition to the relationship with ourselves. And realize that in that strong desire to do well, to be happy, healthy, there's also the fear of not getting what we want or the discomfort of not having what we want. And putting too much stress or emphasis on one or the other brings discomfort. Even if we obsess over learning, over all the things that we know how to do better and we don't, if we resist that, we are not allowing the space to understand that we don't control everything, but there's room for opportunity if we only relax into that. And we perhaps accept this unconditional forgiveness not as a license to do whatever in the future, but as the only way not to put obstacles that would stop us from seeing what is the healthiest outcome for ourselves and all. We can do that. We can try again. Like we could come back to the breathing when we were distracted over and over again, every time we want. And if we are tired, then we won't want and we don't have to do it. But this is our resolution. I'm aware that I can try as many times as I want and stop if I want to stop. And now, if it is our disposition and we continue to enjoy this exercise, it is our turn to bring our attention to others, the biggest part of our reality, and try to see them in the same light with their obsessions and their fears, their willingness to do better for themselves, to be healthy and happy, and their mistakes that ultimately are caused by endless causes and conditions, but with their little space of opportunity to do better through awareness. Let's revisit first our own biases, not to make ourselves feel guilty, but to consider if there's something that we can do better. Let's imagine on our left side someone we don't know very well, perhaps someone we have encountered online or at the grocery store. Let's imagine that person as clearly as we can. And then in front of us, let's imagine, let's visualize someone dear to us, someone very close, someone that is even easier to picture in front of us. Let's think of his or her face, and only if that is our disposition and our mood, we can picture on our right someone who has been difficult to us recently. And let's think of something annoying or uncomfortable that has happened to us recently. And let's imagine the person on the left, the stranger, going through exactly the same thing or very similar. And let's simply observe our feelings when we do that, when we imagine the stranger, the person on the left, going through exactly that difficult situation we went through or we are going through. And now let's go to the person in front of us and let's imagine this person going through exactly the same thing or something very similar within a realistic scenario, because she or he knows us, that we're going to visualize him or her going through the same difficult situation. And let's observe how we feel. And now, if we are in the mood, if not, we can stay with the stranger and the close person. But if that is our disposition, we can go to the right side, the person that was difficult to us. Let's imagine him or her going through exactly the same uncomfortable situation that we have thought about, or very similar, within a realistic scenario, counting on everybody's differences. And let's observe how we feel. And now let's go back to our left side and remember the moment of joy, maybe our nurturing moment of security. And let's imagine this person on the left side, the stranger, going through exactly the same situation that brought us so much joy, or very similar. And let's observe our feelings. Now let's go to the person in front of us, the close one, and imagine the same situation, same moment that brought us so much joy and brought so much joy to the person on the left, happening to the person in front of us. And imagine your own joy and satisfaction, security, fulfillment, and see how it impacts us. And finally, if that is our disposition, let's go to the right side, the person that was difficult, and imagine her or him in that situation, that nurturing situation that brought us so much joy. And observe how we feel. Let's now reflect on the very important differences among these three people and ourselves that still make room for the shared humanity, the willingness, the desire, the yearning to be well, to have happy moments, to smile, to be healthy. Do we all want the same? Do we all have the same right to search for happiness? And without disregarding our differences, were we all born with this instinct to be alive? Are we all going to die? Will we all get sick? Have all our hearts been broken? Do we all trip and fall? And can we all try again? And if we feel inclined to, we can expand, starting in front of us with a bigger group of people close to us, family and friends. At the beginning, one by one, recalling their faces and this shared desire to do well, to overcome suffering and difficulties, fears, illnesses. And let's see them for who they are, beyond what they do to benefit us, which is much, but just as human beings searching, often blind, trying. And we continue to expand to more and more people that we know and love, and perhaps to others that we know, but without a close relationship, including the stranger on our left, and people whose faces maybe we cannot visualize, but we can imagine in other cities, in other countries, with different opinions, different circumstances, different positions in the world. Do we all want to do well? Do we all have the right to search for happiness? Can we all use some self compassion? Do we all make mistakes? Can we all do better? And if we feel inclined to do so, we can include even other animals, pets, plants, all sentient beings, and beyond. All of us sharing this willingness to be alive, to thrive, and this connection to these difficult reality, difficult but illuminating, that brings discomfort and unease, but that gives us the opportunity to do better, to see it all, to understand. And we may include even the difficult ones, the adversaries, the people that we don't understand, and bring as well all those things that we don't understand and we don't like as part of this multiple reality in which there's a space for all because we are all one. And with that, we conclude with the sincere desire to keep on learning, but without obsessing over what we still have to learn, what we should know, and also with the wish from the heart that everyone around us, as far as we can reach, does well. Thank you.